when we lose a brother who ends up ultimately paying with his life, he deserves to be recognized for his sacrifices and also to show support for the family as well.
We are very close-knit, and we really do speak the same language, and so when something happens here in the state or even in another state, it affects us all.
Trooper Pilot Burke Bates, a loving husband, father, and a brother to hundreds. Police from all over the country came to say goodbye to the fallen Virginia State Trooper.
You don't want to keep using the cliche, it's all about family, but it really is. The Virginia State Police is just a huge family, and whenever anything happens, you feel it regardless of what part of the country you're in.
It's kind of hard to tell or describe, but you know, you can go anywhere and you're just like a best friend to each other.
A life taken too soon by all accounts during the eulogies, serving with the best of the best, according to Governor Terry McAuliffe.
We cannot say thank you enough to you.
Law enforcement officers from more than 20 different states all coming to Richmond.
A whole bunch of pride that, you know, these guys did the best of the best, and they did everything they could to save as many people as they could.
For me, it really hits home the families, what the families lose.
We all have families that worry about us when we leave, and when we come back in the door, we want to make sure that they're happy.
We're all doing the same thing. We all have the same end goal in mind.
It takes manpower, money, and heart to build a Habitat for Humanity home. And a lot of those things come from the homeowner.
Habitat is all about putting good families in beautiful homes, but they have to pay for that home.
Some people may not realize it, but the future owner of this home is required to help build and pay for it.
I have a goal to pay it off quick and set my goals high, and I'm pretty good at setting my goals and keep going.
Habitat requires owners to complete 200 sweat equity hours, whether that be in the restore, working on other homes, or on their own. But the work doesn't stop once the home is done.
Across the country, there's a saying in Habitat, if you don't pay, you don't stay. It's a mortgage operation.
Darlene has already put in more sweat equity hours than needed. She's doing it all working a full-time job so she and her son will have a safe place to call their own.
Just knowing that it's something that I'm doing for him, for his future, that he won't have to worry about when he gets older.
By authority of the Commonwealth of Virginia, this event has been declared an unlawful assembly. You are to leave the area now, or you will be arrested.
A state of emergency.
Racists go home! It didn't matter whether it was George Washington or Robert E. Lee, or for that matter, Abraham Lincoln, you know. They were people 150 years ago.
I'm glad it's getting torn down. The Confederate War, the Confederacy, the Civil War is not something to be memorialized.
The two sides going back and forth all morning. This comes after state officials announced plans to tear down Confederate monuments in Charlottesville.
It's the definition of white supremacy. It's the definition of profit over humanity.
I think it's a historical monument and it should stay where it's at.
The protests ending before it even got started. Crowds forced to disperse 30 minutes after the rally's official start time.
What's going on here is it's atrocious.
Seen a lot of violence from both sides.
There is anti-white Christian culture.
I'm here for my ancestors. I'm here for my peers, for my family.
With messages for folks on the other side.
We need to push and resist against this right now. This wouldn't have happened a couple of years ago. This cannot be the norm.
I love contact. It's my favorite part of the sport.
Wyatt Hamilton is a junior wide receiver and linebacker on the EC Glass football team. One day, a routine play in practice went wrong.
One of our D linemen got blocked back into me, and I just hit my head on his back.
Hamilton immediately knew something wasn't right.
Didn't think I even got hit that hard. It just hit my head in the right point.
An athletic trainer was there and diagnosed Wyatt with a concussion. The injury took its toll on the field and in the classroom.
I just couldn't write. My head was spinning all over the place, and the little letters on the screen just killed me.
EC Glass athletic trainer Jennifer Armstrong put Hamilton through a daily concussion protocol to get him back on the football field. It's almost a week-long program using drills to determine whether Wyatt still has concussion symptoms. But not every athlete has access to this kind of in-school treatment by an athletic trainer.
Having an athletic trainer at high schools is imperative.
Armstrong says 36 athletes came to her with concussions last year, and that's just at EC Glass alone.
It is not a luxury. It shouldn't be considered a luxury. It really is a necessity.
Just on one side or all the way through?
All the way through. All right. See you tomorrow.
The Virginia Athletic Trainers Association is lobbying state lawmakers for regulations mandating athletic trainers at every high school in the state.
Now, Sprint, it can be life or death.
If you get hit before the first concussion has resolved, it can be fatal.
Dr. Tom Bowman is an associate professor at Lynchburg College and researches concussions and recovery. He says parents should demand an athletic trainer at every high school.
So that there is somebody who is qualified and can take care of your son or daughter. They can recognize it, they can diagnose it early, and treat them appropriately.
Good. Get a quick drink of water.
I looked up schools online that don't have athletic trainers and found several in our area, including Holy Cross Regional Catholic School in Lynchburg.
Best case scenario, would love to have an athletic trainer, but just really don't have the resources at this moment.
Adam New hires new coaches that are trained in first response and CPR, but the school sends athletes to doctors for concussion recovery. New tries to learn about athletic recovery when he can, but admits he's not a trainer.
I try to use those resources to educate myself so that I can pass on that to my coaches and also to my athletes.
But Armstrong agrees. Every school needs an athletic trainer because they're trained to diagnose head injuries at both practices and games.
If you can fund an athletics program, you need to be able to fund an athletic trainer. Now backpedal.
It's worth investing in. It helps just keep things running smoothly.
Finish on 3. 1, 2, 3.
It's going to be pretty awesome to see it under the lights for the first time.
I never thought this day would come out. I usually thought that was just sort of like a real big track thing.
I've been around this thing a long time, but this is the most excited I've been on anything.
Martinsville, Virginia, baby! Live in color!
You'd think it was more of a basketball game or a football game, but we're here for stock car racing tonight.
This is Martinsville. It's bragging rights. People are going all out, trying to do all they can do to be where I'm at right now, you know. So this is the most prestigious late model stock car race on the Eastern Seaboard, and I'm glad we were winning.
Program, get your program here.
Who are you pulling for?
The North. Well, who do you think? The North.
Land of the free and the home of the brave.
It's so exciting because all the players are just doing their very best and they're running and doing it. It's not dull and boring.
Now batting pitcher number 8, Zach Collins.
South, not really sure, the players on the South, but, they'll get to know me.
He's out! He's out! He's out!